Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Diane. You're the first person to be in my live stream this afternoon. Hello, congratulations. Hello, everyone. For those who do not know me yet, my name is David B. Dichoso. I'm a senior high school teacher of Cabarugis National School of Arts and Trades, Cabarugis, Quirino. In this live stream, we are going to talk about Module 3, Lesson 2 of Oral Communication in Context. This live stream is intended for my students for their subject. I would like to shout out all of my students from the different sections like Amber, Aquamarine, Amethyst, Sapphire, Ruby, Emerald, Onyx. Shout out to every one of you. Kindly share this video to your classmates so that they will be informed that we are already here. Hello, Beth Ginyang. Last week, we talked about the different barriers to communication. We have identified 4. We have physiological, psychological, linguistic, and the other one is... What's the third one? Let me check my notes here. Linguistic and cultural. Okay, that's it. Today we are going to move on with our next lesson, which is on how we are going to address or avoid communication barriers. Kindly share the link to your classmates to our group chat so that they will be informed that we are already here. Our module was written by Mr. John P. Zotomayor and Ma'am Feli Rose M. Nicario. Thank you very much for writing this module for our learners in this time of pandemic. May God bless you. And by the way, my heart and prayers go to the victims of Typhoon Rolly, especially in our brothers and sisters from Camarines Sur and Albay. May they recover fast. For today's video, we will be talking about the various strategies to avoid communication breakdown with the following objectives. Number 1, explain the causes of communication breakdown and use appropriate strategies to avoid communication breakdown and achieve the goals of relationship and community building. So those are our goals for today's live stream. Are you ready with our lesson? If you are, then let's start with our lesson for Module 3. On page 15 of your module, there is a pre-diagnostic test for the lesson. It is composed of 15 item tests, multiple choice items that you need to answer. And together later on, we are going to discover the correct answers for these questions. I hope that you were already able to answer these items. So let's start. On page 17. In lesson 1, the previous week, you have learned the concept of communication breakdown and its cause. In this lesson, you will find out how this breakdown of communication can be avoided. It says here there is an activity for what's in. It says that we need to identify at least three, but then I'm only going to require you one scenario wherein you experience communication breakdown, and then you are going to give me the strategy on how you can solve this communication breakdown. I'll give you an example. Okay. The scenario was when I was at Santiago last week, I received a phone call while I was in the queue or in line for my documents to be received. And then suddenly I received a phone call from somebody important to me. And then when I answered the phone, the line was not that clear. It was breaking. In short, I wasn't able to understand the things that she is saying. So what I did, the strategy that I did was, I ended the call and then I tried to message her, informing her that the line was breaking and I couldn't understand anything that she's saying. In short, the strategy that I used was to identify a better channel to be used so that the transfer of information would be clear. So that's an example for activity in what's in. Are you okay with that one? Now, it's your turn. What scenario have you experienced wherein communication breakdown happened? What strategy did you use for you to fix the breakdown that happened? You can write your answers on a piece of paper and submit it to me. Good afternoon, Jamaica. Good afternoon, Allen. We're now on page 17 of your module. So let's proceed. Ready? If yes, let's proceed. I'm now on page 18 of your module, lesson 2, page 18. In here, we're going to be talking about the 5 ways on how to avoid communication breakdown by Ronnie Peterson. So in here, there are 5 suggestions for us to remember when we communicate with others, for us to avoid breakdowns or disruptions. Let me minimize the volume of the sound. Okay. Number 1, it says here that, alright, let me first read the first part. Read it with me, will you? Okay. Communication breakdown can cause issues or problems at home, school, and community. There are so many barriers to communication like physiological, psychological, cultural, and linguistics. So these 4 concepts, we discussed this last time, correct? First one, physiological, we have psychological, cultural, and linguistic barriers. Sometimes, some communication barriers are too difficult to solve, and this will lead us to show, or this will lead to slowing the progress or end efficiency. Here are possible strategies to avoid this communication breakdown. Number 1, have clarity of thought before speaking. What does it mean? Having clarity of thought before speaking means that as a speaker, you have to make sure that your ideas are organized. You have to identify the flow of your speech. What are you going to say in the introductory part? How are you going to present the facts in the body of your speech? How will you end your speech in a manner that would penetrate the heart of the listeners? Having a clarity of thought means you are prepared to deliver your speech. You know what you want to say, you know your purpose, and how you wanted the speech to be delivered to the audience. That is the first one. You must have a clarity of thought before speaking. More importantly, it says here, arrange your thoughts before verbalizing them. This can help you communicate much more clearly and succinctly. It is better idea to say something like, I've got a few ideas here. Let me go through them one at a time. We can treat each other its own merit. So that's the first first way to avoid communication breakdown. Hello, Arlene Jean. Number two, learn to listen. We always say that communication process is a two-way process. It says here that we need to listen. Learn to listen. Either way, we are the sender or the receiver of the message. We need to master the art of listening. When we listen, we try to understand what the person is saying. We have to be focused, laser sharp focus to distinguish the important details that are given by the sender so that when we respond, definitely from the words we listen to, we can create a feedback that is effective and efficient. Number two, learn to listen. Let me read to you the explanation here. It says that as simple as it sounds, you'll be surprised how many people out there don't know how to listen well. Some people you know, they just listen to respond but not to understand at all, especially in arguments. Sometimes they even raise their voices when they say things, for in fact, it shouldn't be like that. Number three, take care of your body language and tone. Body language is the movement of your body when you deliver your speech. It pertains to your posture, to your poise when you stand, when you present yourself to others. It is very important that when you go in front of people, you stand there with mind that is aware of what's happening around. You have to present yourselves in a manner that they will believe on what you are saying. Okay? Of course, the tone. I had hard time on this one. Sometimes, because of the quality of my voice, it's too loud. Sometimes I'm being misunderstood by people. They thought that I am that strict, something like that. But, it just comes out to me naturally because of my voice. But definitely, when we speak, we have to make sure that our posture, our poise, our tone is directly related to the content of our message, to the content of our speech. It should come together. Our facial expressions as well. It must be relatable to the audience. It must be relevant. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit distracted with the messages popping out of the screen. But nevertheless, let me read it to you. Keep your emotions in check. Correct. Try to maintain eye-to-eye contact and adopt relaxed tone when conversing with others. Okay, I forgot to say, eye-to-eye contact is very important. Because in here, you are transferring a message to somebody and they need to feel that trust that what you are saying is genuine, that you are true to the words that you are saying, especially when you deliver speeches, assertive speeches, right? Eye to eye is very important. Do not forget that one. Number four, build up your confidence by asking for feedback and observing others. I always try to observe others when they deliver their speeches. In one way or another, it is because I am very much interested on what they are saying. And the second one is, I want to learn how to speak like they do. Especially those speakers that I love listening to. Like Dr. Orlando Manuel, Ma'am Flor de Lisa Gegkolbe, education leaders like Dr. Benjamin Paragas. These are great speakers. And of course, I would like to shout out one of my best teachers before, Ma'am Rosemary Cangas, and the president of the university that I studied to, Dr. Ronald Guzman before, the late Dr. Ronald Guzman. I am very much amazed on how how they delivered their speeches. You know why? Observing them gives me an idea on how should I also deliver my speech. When they speak, they command attention. They have this what we call presence that commands me to listen carefully and to try to grasp every word of wisdom, especially those people who are aged or like full of wisdom, like Honorable Junikua. I love it every time that he delivers speeches. He never fails to amaze me, to give me information or wisdom that is very timely and very inspiring. Okay? Build yourself by build yourself confidence by asking for feedback. Yes, I always ask my friends, especially in college before. Every time that we do speeches in front of our class, I try to ask my classmates, even my teacher, what are the things or points for improvement in my speech? Well, definitely this feedback from them would help me improve the things to be improved. Example, the organization, the way I pronounce words, the way I stand, the way I look at the audience, the way I present myself, the way I wear things, because all of this feedback that we receive from others, good or bad, well, we have to choose which one we should take in and ponder to. Okay? I feel like I have said already a lot. Number 5, it says here we have to communicate face to face on important issues. Correct. Because when you talk to somebody and there are important issues to be discussed, it's important that you need to look at the face. Why? It's because when you look at the face, you can feel already if he or she is genuine or not, if he or she is telling the truth or not. It's very important. It says here it can also help to clear up any misunderstandings or distortions of the message that could occur through other mediums. That's why it's very important. Okay, there are questions here to be answered. Are you with me? Okay, it says here, what are the barriers to communication mentioned in the article? You can start answering this question by the barriers to communication mentioned in the article are, what are the 4? First one, physiological, something that happens around us. Number 2, psychological, something that happens in the mind. Number 3, cultural, it's more on the background, the race, the preferences, the opinion of someone. And the 4th barrier, we have linguistic. It focuses on the semantics, on the idioms that are used, and the like. Okay, number 2. How can how can communication breakdown be avoided? Communication breakdown can be avoided when we follow the ways. Hello, Pedro. When we follow the ways that are enumerated by Ronnie Peterson. And more importantly, to avoid communication breakdown, you have to be considerate to the time, to the place when you deliver the message. Make sure that make sure that your your recipient of the message, the receiver is ready to grasp the information that you are giving. He is ready to accept the information. Yes, I am from Philippines, Pedro. Hello, shout out to Pedro. Okay, number 3 question. In your opinion, which strategy is the easiest way to do? Which one is the most difficult to do and why? Well, for me, the easiest way to do in here is learn to listen. Hi Pedro, he's from Brazil. Okay, I was saying that learn to listen is the easiest way to do. Why? It's because listening is part of our characteristics as individuals, as people. It's just that sometimes we don't listen to understand. We just listen to respond. Responding without understanding others, sometimes it gives a negative message to them. While when we listen and understand, we try to put our heart and mind with the message that we receive. And the same way around, we are going to use this mind and heart when we create a feedback to them. The most difficult way for me is, I think it's Number four, when you ask for feedback from others, sometimes it's nerve-wracking when you ask feedback from others. It's because you feel like a little bit of a shame, maybe, whether there are criticisms that they have observed. I think that's the hardest part. But anyway, we have to be positive. Though they may throw stones at us, though there are negative feedbacks given, please take it positively, because in one way or another, this will help you improve. This will help us improve in our way for developing our communication skills, our communicative skills. I think we're done with activity number one. Let's move on with what is it? It says here, a smooth and successful communications transaction may result if we follow the strategies to avoid communication breakdown. Communication becomes successful if and only if our communication goal is achieved. That is, an understanding is reached and a relationship is built or maintained. Here are some strategies to avoid communication breakdown by Quipper. Number one, keep focused. One way of being focused is to put in mind the purpose of communication. I think I have mentioned this one already. When you know what you want to say and how you want to say it, delivering a speech is a very simple thing already. It's because you know your purpose. Definitely, when you know your purpose, you know already the flow, the organization of the message you want to be delivered. How are you going to catch the audience with your introduction? How are you going to present the facts in the body of your speech? How will you make an impact with the conclusion that you are going to say? Keep focused. All these aspects should be in mind while you deliver your speech. Your purpose, the way you deliver it, and what will be the ending of your speech. Let me move forward with number two, speak intelligibly. Speaking intelligibly or clearly means using appropriate speaking volume, pitch, rate, proper enunciation, stress, and acceptable pronunciation. Good afternoon, Gail. We speak in order to be understood. Sometimes this is also my problem, especially in my class. Sometimes I'm too fast when delivering my statements while I discuss. That's why if you feel like I'm too fast, kindly comment down below. Sir Dave, you're too fast. Kindly make it a little bit slower. Okay? We have to speak with appropriate volume, pitch, and rate. Pitch pertains to the highness and lowness of voice. Rate pertains to the the speed when we deliver a statement. Number three, listen with your eyes and ears. Okay, it's more like putting your heart into what you listen to. Because when you put your eyes and ears when you listen, you look at the speaker eye to eye, and with that act itself, you're trying to connect the message from the heart of the sender to your heart. Next, minimize distractions. This is very important. Distractions may come in our environment. That's why we have to choose when we communicate. Are you going to discuss your secret in the market? Of course not. Say it talk to your friend in a place that is more private than the public market. Hi, princess. Okay, let's move forward. It says here, be specific. Use simple and concise words as much as possible in delivering a message. Being specific means being particular and direct to the point. Okay, when delivering speeches, sometimes speakers tend to overuse adjectives. How do I term that? Yeah, you have to be specific. You have to be short and concise when you deliver your speech. Do not go around the bush because it would just take much effort and energy. Just state it directly. It would be better. That's what we suggest. Last one, do not jump to conclusions. Before you give your comments and judgment, be sure that you have listened attentively to the speaker. Conclusions should be drawn after through analysis of point given or information received. Okay. It says here that we should not be judgmental when we listen to speakers. We have to identify the reasons. Why would the speaker discuss this thing? What's the reason behind it? You have to listen beyond words. Well, there's a line, read beyond the lines. But in speeches, we have to listen beyond the words that we hear. We should listen from the heart. We should feel what the speaker wanted us to feel while he or she delivers his speech. Do not jump to conclusions. That's the last one. Okay? We're done with the suggestions or strategies by Quipper to avoid communication breakdown. Now let's move on with the 7 C's of effective communication by Broom, Cutlip, and Center. Are you with me? If you're with me, kindly hit the like button. Please hit the like button, class. Thank you. First one, completeness. It is important to whole communication process. The speaker should include everything that the receiver needs to hear, respond, react, or evaluate properly. Completeness. Let me explain this concept. As a speaker, when we deliver speeches, we have to create possible questions in the minds of our audience. What would my audience want me to say in this speech? What are the possible questions that they may ask at the end of the speech? Having these things in mind would make us sure or will help us ensure that our speeches are complete with every detail that the listeners expect us to deliver. It's just like giving the complete ingredients of a menu to be prepared. Completeness. Number 2, conciseness. The message should be direct or straight to the point and should be expressed in the least possible number of words. Okay. Conciseness means being direct to the point. It's not going around the bush. What I've observed with some of the speeches in our place or some places that I have visited, when they deliver their speeches, they focus too much on the introduction. When they enumerate the names of the visitors, it would take them about almost half of their time for the delivery of the speech. Well, I think it would be better when these individuals that are seated in front were recognized already by the host. I think the following speakers or yes, individuals who deliver a speech should no longer enumerate their name one by one. That's only my opinion. What do you think? Number 3, consideration. Consideration. In order to be effective, the speaker should give high regard and courtesy to audience background or information such as his or her culture, education, religion, status, mood, feelings, and needs. I always say this. The level of the language that you use should be directly related to the level of intellect of the receivers. The lev- if your if your audience, for example, are pupils, grade 1 pupils, of course, as a speaker, you should not use highfalutin words. You should use simple words. You have to deliver it in a manner that is understandable by the pupils. It's because the goal of communication is to be understood. Consideration. You consider their culture, their background, their religious beliefs, and at the same time, be respectful. Number four, I'm sorry, concreteness. It says here, effective communication is backed up with facts, figures, and real-life examples or situations. In speeches, I always look for this one. How do we make or how do we cite references in our speeches? Well, I always say, according to, based on, taken from, for example, according to Merriam-Webster's dictionary, love is a feeling of affection. But some people say love is blind. You see, you cite references because these ingredients to your speech would make your speech concrete. It will make your arguments strong. You cite references, you cite studies that would support what you are saying. Your opinions should be supported with facts, should be supported with studies. Because when you are in front of people and delivering speech, it is expected of you that you are knowledgeable of what you are saying. That is concreteness. Next one, courtesy. The speaker can show respect to his or her receivers through understanding their culture, values, and beliefs. The speaker can show respect to the listeners by demonstrating an understanding of their beliefs, values, and culture. I think I have explained this one already. Number 6, clearness. It implies the use of simple and specific words. Do not use highfalutin words or words that would cause you to browse first the net. What do we mean by such word that you use? Because definitely the audience, if they are not that good, or I mean, their knowledge in English not that vast, it would give them confusion. It will serve as a barrier, linguistic barrier, the use of jargons. That's why it is suggested by Broom Cutlip that clearness should be part of our speeches, in our delivery of speeches. Number 7, correctness. Avoiding mistakes in grammar help to boost the credibility and effectiveness of the message. You know what we mean with this one? Especially here in our country, sometimes the listeners here in the country, sometimes the listeners, well, I myself sometimes, we are very much crucial in terms of grammar. But anyway, we are not English language speakers, so we should not be like that. Okay, so we're done. The 7 C's of Effective Communication by Broom, Cutlip, and Center, year 2012 are completeness, conciseness, consideration, concreteness, courtesy, clearness, and correctness. We're done. We're good with that. Now, let's move on with helpful expressions to avoid communication breakdown. There are 2 columns on page 21. On the lower part of that, there are 2 columns which present the strategies to avoid communication breakdown and what are the helpful expressions that can be used as speakers. It says here, number 1, use helpful expressions to gain time to think. It says here, really, anyway, tell me more, okay? I want to tell you something about this one. some speakers, some teachers, I know for a fact, sometimes me, I'm guilty of it sometimes. For me to think of the words that I will say, sometimes I use like okay, we have to avoid these things because such things are called verbal fillers or viruses. Some listeners, admit it or not, they will count the number of that you say in your speeches, even the times you would say K. Okay, okay, they will write it down and they will count. How many times did this person say K in his time to deliver a message? That's a lot. Well, maybe instead of say using and in here, I suggest we could use anyway, tell me more really. Not and Are you with me? Next, give positive remarks or comments. Sounds good? I like what you mean. I see what you mean. Awesome. That's wonderful. That's supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. No, that's a joke. Next, ask for repetition. Can you please, what you said? What did you say again? What did you mean when you say that? Okay, check for understanding. So are you saying that? So what's the understanding of this? Are you hanging there? Are you still with me? Something like that. So there is an activity here. Activity 1. Match column A with the best answer in column B. Write your answers on a separate sheet of paper. Are you still guys with me? Let's answer this together. Okay? Number 1. It refers to the use of simple and precise words. Simple and precise words. I think that is B. Be specific. Number 2. The speaker should identify his or her purpose for speaking. I think that's letter A. Hi, Gail. Number 3, he or she must pay attention to the verbal and non-verbal cues. I think that is letter E, correct. Number 4, he must find closed areas for quiet place to avoid communication breakdown. I think that is letter... What do you think? Comment down below. Correct. You are right. Minimize distractions. Yay, you got it right. Number 5, he or she must have an appropriate speaking volume, speech rate, and acceptable enunciation. What's the answer? Kindly comment down below. You're right. Letter D. Very good. Okay, let's move on. Number 2, activity 2. Number 1, identify what 7 C's to effective communication is being described. Write your answer on a separate sheet of paper. Number 1, it helps to increase the credibility of the speaker and reduce negative impact to the audience. Correct, Gail? I think the answer here is correctness. Grammar is correct. Number 2, it conveys all pertinent details to listener or audience will be able to grasp the intended message. The answer there is completeness. Number 3, it is expressed in the least possible number of words and straight to the point. What is that? Correct. That is conciseness. Number 4, it implies good choice of words and language and consideration of the audience perspective and feelings on the part of the sender. I think this one is courtesy. Number 5, it is backed up by facts, figures, and real-life examples or situations. What do you think is this one? What do you think is this one? Kindly answer. You're right. The answer there is concreteness. Okay, we're done with activity 2. Now, let's move on with activity 3, page number 23. Activity 3. Think of another helpful expression for each of the following expressions below to avoid communication breakdown. Put your answer in each box. Time gain expressions. Well, for us, what I commonly use to gain time for me to think, I use transitional devices or markers such as moreover, furthermore. Sometimes when I use these words, it gives me time to think of what to say and how to say things. It helps me organize as well my thought in mind. Give positive remark or comment. Very good. That's right. Okay. As for repetition, can you say it again? I'm sorry, I didn't get that. What was that? Oh, so these are the answers. Check for understanding. Are you with me? Are you still with me? Are you hanging there? So these are the answers. Next, what have I learned? Complete the diagram on how to avoid communication breakdown. Strategies on how to avoid communication breakdown. Actually, the answers for this chart is already present in your module. You just have to copy them and write it on your answer sheets legibly. Right? Okay. What can I do? Conduct an interview either online of 5 senior high school students who have experienced communication breakdown. Summarize their experiences and decide the most appropriate strategy to avoid each communication breakdown. Explain your reasons for each strategy. Instead of 5, I am just gonna be requiring you to do at least 3. 3 senior high school students. That will be fine. Okay? And then, you have to answer the assessment. Do you want one only, Diane? Kindly comment down, those who are watching right now my live stream, if how many respondents would you like to have? How many would you like to have? Comment down, those who are watching me right now. And let me decide after you comment down below. No, they're not responding. Okay, let's continue. You need to have at least, okay, 1. Interview 1 respondent for that item. Okay. Okay, Jamaica, if you made it 5, very good. You can share the 4 to your classmates. Okay, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and for additional activities, write your own 5 tips to avoid communication breakdown. Include a brief explanation for each tip. So how many would you like? 5? Angel, that's being wise, Angel. Oh, what about for the additional activities? How many tips would you like to write? 3? 3? Comment down if you like 3. While I wait for your comments, if how many would you like to write for the tips, let me take this opportunity to thank everybody who have been so kind, who have been doing your work properly, especially my students for your modules. I appreciate your efforts, though it's really hard for you to study online and to have this distance learning with all of your subjects. I hope and pray that everything is fine, that everything is doing well with you and your family. Please stay safe. Do not forget to follow the strict protocols on our community. in our community. And, you know, always find happiness in life. Find time to relax and enjoy. Okay? Let's let's view learning as a fun thing to do. Don't you worry, I will be checking it, Gail. Okay? I think we're done. If you like this video, kindly hit the like button. Please do not forget to subscribe and share this video to your classmates. So, until then again, once again, this is David B. Dichoso, your teacher, senior high school teacher from Cabarugis National School of Arts and Trades. Thank you very much for watching this live stream for Module 3, Lesson 2 of Oral Communication in Context. Until next time, bye!